Good evening. I hope you're doing okay today. Today is Sunday evening, so I decided to go ahead on and give this manifold word of wisdom for the week coming so that I can be sure and have time to speak to you about the upcoming excitement that the Lord wants me to do. And I want to make sure I put this plug in here so you will know that, again, this year, 2018, at my age, I'm making sure that I do exactly the way Abba tells me to do it and not trying to fit into anybody's schedule or stay on, course for any particular group, even though I have various groups that I send information to. And I'm only saying that because I know when to turn it on and when to turn it off as Abba leads. Mm-hmm. And so I just wanted to make sure you knew that because there are several different meetings that I posted out that will be coming up, and then some has been postponed. Don't mean that it's the end of it, but they've been postponed as Abba leads me to do them. But I want to say this, is that this coming Friday is going to be our first opportunity, and I want you to save that date and please invite particularly those particular family members who are maybe grandkids or parents and leaders and people of that sort, particularly married people, because the message that we're going to be talking about in my premise on Friday for our Apostolic Filling Station lessons that we're going to be doing every last Friday of the month. I'm saying that for now, so some messages will be recorded and you'll get them. Don't mean they'll be live like we'll be doing on Friday. Okay, just wanted to put that nugget in there before I give this manifold word of wisdom. And so I hope you can join me. It'll always be at 7 o'clock a.m. In the morning on Fridays, and you'll hear it. This first Friday will be live. You do not want to miss this message. And this premise that we're going to be doing has a lot to do with the year of the teacher. I don't want to forget to bring that out. Many of you who will get this information will get it out of those specific groups that will be sent out too. So watch for the Whole Woman University and the Apostolic Filling Station. If you're part of those two groups, then you will get the announcement about what's going to take place in that first message about this teaching premises that Abba has spoke to me at the beginning of the year, that is the year of the teacher. And so I am in search of teachers. It's not for my ministry, it is for you. Because Abba said it's the hour that we need to come up in a whole other dimension for the ecclesia to really, really understand that we have the kingdom governing authority. And the only way we're going to be able to present that out is to teach the people. And so you see that's very, very big reverenced in Matthew chapter 28. It's talking about in teaching them. So I want to make sure that you be on the call on Friday morning if you can. This Friday, coming up on the 25th, right? No, 23rd. Yeah, the 23rd at 7 o'clock a.m. Okay? I look for you then on the call. So if anybody don't get to see this and you hear this, let me give you the number for the dial in so you don't miss it. It's 641-715-0874. And the passcode is 991839. Okay? So you don't want to miss it. So that's all I got to say about that. Now let's just jump into the message for the manifold. I just was so excited because at first I didn't know what this word was going to be for this week. I had what I felt in my spirit it needed to be, but when I got a call from the pastor who really had a question about this particular word, and it was prophetic intercession or intercessor. And immediately it was like my baby leaped, and Abba began to speak to me, just like he did about our meeting that's going to be taking place on Friday, to ultimately give us the enrichment. So we'll be doing different things concerning that teaching. But this part really leaped in my spirit because I'm like, yes, Lord, because so many get it kind of twisted on understanding prophetic intercession versus being an intercessor or intercessory prayer. And so I just love how Dusty Sheep they say Dusty. I call him Dutch by his name. But he talked about how, you know, if you think on us being an intercessor, he said that this is where God meets a mate, meaning we being the bride. And he talked about how then when we get into true intercession and we kiss our bride, you can rest assured that Satan has met its match, meaning that you are not going to be able to conquer this. I mean, now you've met the face of God for a true blood-bought intercessor. And I love that, the way he put that. But I want to talk about a little bit about what this word intercession means. Intercession means, I'm going to give you the Hebrew word. The Hebrew word means paga, P like Paul, A, G like go, A, and it means to meet. Isn't that powerful? So that means, just as I said, when intercession begins, it creates a meeting. That's what it does. It creates a meeting. That's why it's so important you choose the right people to be interceding with you, so you won't have people in the midst that are not really, you know, doing what they're supposed to be doing as far as the soulish realm is concerned, and you know, following, you know, the laws of what God has given us, the commandments that is, and the fruit of the Spirit. But intercessors, when they meet with God, they also are going to meet with the powers of darkness. And this is for that reason, so that you won't have to be fighting so hard. A whole bunch of us running around doing a bunch of hollering. And we ain't got to do that, because when you're packing power, the devil knows your name. I always say that. He knows your name. And so, Pada, when you go to Pada, meet with God, intercede, the devil is going to meet you too in the spirit realm. His ultimate goal is that when you begin to form a group, there's some things that just recently happened with me when we had my personal intercessors group meeting. You heard me say personal, because there's a difference. I'm not talking about my ministry. I'm talking about the person that covers all those things that concern me personally. That includes my ministry. So that is a difference. And now what I really want to say to you is that where we are at right now in the realm of the spirit, it's very important that we watch who we're praying for, what they're praying about, and who qualifies to be in that realm of prayer. Oh, yeah. There is a qualification to meet hell. And so anyway, so that's the part I just want to bring out on on what intercession does, okay? So an intercessor is that group of people that come to go in charge and, you know, and pray about whoever's going through different issues and things like that. But the same with the prophetic intercessor. When you're doing prophetic intercession, I want to make sure that you know that I'm alluding from such a powerful woman of God, Dr. Paula Price, from her dictionary, and you'll hear me allude from her every now and then, and some other resources of blood-bought, real seasoned elders who I really believe in, that I've studied from their work in the scriptures to see that it is very, very true, scripture-based, driven, and so I wouldn't give you anything that I know is not of God. So I really, really give her kudos for her work. So here it is. Prophetic intercession, she says that the Lord has given her the revelation that the term for the peculiar high-powered prayers of prophets, whereby revelatory insight, historical experience, and official authority unite to cause the petition of the prophet to be granted by God. Once heard, the words they utter take on the effect of altering satanic situations and conditions that others may have no effect upon. Now, this is very, very important for us to know, because as I tried to tell her before I read this, me being a prophetic intercessor, I also know that when I begin to go into a realm that the Lord I'm beginning to pull down and open up heaven and see different issues and, seeing open visions of things that God is trying to reveal to me to pray about, okay, and pull down and open heaven open up, to charge hell about. But anyway, she goes on to say, prophetic intercession involves prayer, there it is, declarations, commands and decrees, and various supernatural executive or legislative acts prophets are authorized by the Lord to influence. These official actions on behalf of the Most High compel the holds of the darkness to release them from their captives, objects, and their possessions. That's correct. So the person who is interceding, is something begins to happen. Things begin to break. I know a lot of times when I'm in my ministry and I'm doing a service or whatever, and I begin to walk and pray. And when I say I shut the gates, I can hear the gates literally shut. From any force that's coming against my ministry as I'm doing that particular service. The gates are shut. That means that hell ain't going to have no more rule here. We set in the standard. So those people who I have walking and praying, they really, really are in agreement with me. So hell will not be able to charge. Somebody's going to see us. Somebody's going to hear in the spirit what we just be praying against. Every time I think about this here, it just really, really leaps my spirit to know that Satan is, his games. But anyway, let me go on. Prophetic intercession involves prophetic interventions, interruptions, interpositions, and interjection of the will, the word, and works of God in a human situation or earthly affair. There it is, okay? In a word, she says, the prophet's intercession licenses the power, authority, and sovereignty of the Lord to be exercised by them. Yes, God. He's given us that authority. We are the ecclesia, as I said earlier on. We are the kingdom governing authority. Until we can walk in that, then if you are not really walking in that with all power and all authority, that you believe that you are really going to tread upon these things, that you're really going to be able to open your mouth and you ain't got to do a bunch of hollering, anything to start pulling it down. Sunday, it will have no effect. You know why? Because the devil don't know your name. Let me go on. My God. You know you're packing power. But as she said here, and in Jeremiah, she said that in a word, I gave you the intercession power, but she said in Jeremiah 15:1, she said, you might want to write these scriptures down now that I'm giving you. In Jeremiah 15:1, she said, Moses and Samuel were recognized by God as the earliest standard of prophetic intercession. Besides them, she said, are Daniel, Noah, and Job, according to Ezekiel chapter 14. I looked that up. You need to go ahead and read that. It's a powerful revelation. You begin to read not just that one text, but just kind of read throughout that chapter. The two groups, she said, intercessory impact, meaning the two groups that this intercessory type of anointing impacts, are separated by one thing. She said Samuel and Moses were prophetic intercessors within the literal kingdom of God, okay? She said that they both served as rulers in the Lord's procured land, okay? And then here she says the second group, this really, really, really impregnated me. The second group, she said Daniel, Noah, and Job did not. She said they all served the Most High God, the Almighty, but they were in pagan lands under the kings and rulers who resisted and despised the Creator. She said, but nevertheless, through these examples, the Lord showed the power of a prophet's intercession, whereby under his direct or indirect domain. And so she goes on to say, if you read Psalms 99 and 8, you will also learn that intercession, although it may produce divine forgiveness, and to me, I felt like this was grace. Divine forgiveness does not always exempt one from the consequences of his or her sinful deeds. Now, I felt like that was a gap that was grace. I really believe that because we're not God. We're only there standing in the gap and we're only praying. That's what that prophetic intercession, that's why sometimes you will be awakened in the night. Sometimes you will hear God say, pray. Sometimes God will just unction you begin to pray when you begin to drive down certain regions. Something prophetically will drop in your spirit. You'll understand that God is trying to get you to pull down something that maybe your daughter, your son may be coming in that region or going to that store or whatever. I don't want to preach every time I think about it. Okay? And so anyway, it goes on to say here that in Psalm 99, you will learn how the intercessions, although they may produce, as I said before, that they may have to deal with these consequences of these deeds, okay? Because we don't know how God is going to deal with us. Even though he's a forgiving God, he's still a wrathful God. We got to understand that. If we can keep that in mind, he's wrathful, there is a heaven, and there is a hell. I don't want to preach. Anyway, sometimes people's deeds are so tied to creation's law of cause and effect. Okay, here we go. That even though they may be forgiven, many penitents, that means many people that, repented, are still obliged to walk through the damage and the detriments of their sin. I just pretty much said that a few minutes ago. Some people are going to eat that fruit. Though God is gracing them. God has not pulled the cover off of them. God has not showed their filth and nakedness to nobody. He just got it like there saying, I'm just giving you a chance. I'm trying to grace you to really, really get it together. Anyway, notwithstanding a prophet's intercession serves to exclude some sinners from the spiritual and or eternal repercussions of their sin. What God really desires most of all, he said, is for us to be truly repentant, truly return to holiness, truly give our lives. And then she said in Daniel 10, it records the most intense and extensive prophetic intercession engaged by a prophet. You do want to read Daniel chapter 10, very powerful. She says, Moses injects this important function in the chronicles of Israel's history by being constantly in a position of having to intercede before the Lord for Israel's habitual sins. Sometimes his intercession, how he said, we thought, but you know how I say, you did the best you could. You still stand in the gap. For some people, God is saying, that's enough. I don't want to hear any more prayers. Because they just want to continue to play like they're repentant and play like they are humble and play like they for real and they really are not. And so it prevented, sometimes his intercession, it was prevented. It prevented him from getting crisis on a national level, even in families, national crisis and plagues. And other times, it did not do anything. But you want to make sure that you realize that God is sovereign. He's a merciful God. And as we begin to pray and intercede on behalf of those that God has given us, to pray and intercede for, but we got to know as intercessors, I want to close with this, to know that just for this manifold word of wisdom today, you got to know that God is seeking those who will really, really humble themselves and pray. Because he wants to use us. He wants to use those prayers to move heaven right here on earth. And many of us don't realize that. Many of us don't realize that God is seeking a meeting. As I said earlier on. Can you truthfully say that you are in a ministry of intercessory prayer group? Can you truly say that you are a prophetic intercessor? And yet you still have some things that are open, silent, and secret in your own life? Can you truly say that you are making an impact in a group when you know it appears that you hoping that nobody find out about your secret, but yet you still want to be in that group and you know you have sin? It's almost like inviting someone up to lay hands on someone about, how they say, a masturbation, and their hands are filthy. Masturbating. Lord, help me. I'm just trying to show you an example. It sounds real hard, but it's real, real, real. So we got to look at, what are you in the group for? Why do you have them in there and you know their lifestyle? How do you expect God to hear from heaven with these things? And so intercession, as I said earlier, this Hebrew word means paga. It means to meet. And when you're meeting as a group corporately to open heaven and shut the gates of hell. And so this creates this meeting for the intercessors, whether you're prophetic in that fashion or not. You are still meeting with God. And you're also going to meet the powers of darkness. So you need to do your own self-assessment to see, am I really in position to be available for God, to be available for my pastor, to be available for my church, to move heaven right here on earth, to shut the gates of hell? Now, I pray this has helped you. God bless you, and I pray you've had a wonderful, restful weekend. Please share this message, in particular to those who say that they're on intercessory prayer teams and they're calling themselves an intercessor. Love you so much.